All right, welcome back, everybody. I see there's quite the difference in numbers here tonight. For those who are not normally here or are listening on Spotify, appreciate you guys tuning back in. We're back with episode 32 of the Ready, Set, Shag podcast, where I sit down and talk with people who I want to get to know, people who I admire. And I like to consider myself someone that's sort of floating in the middle ground, trying to understand the world. And my guest today is really one of the best ones I've been able to lock down so far. I really appreciate his time, and I'm not really going to waste any more time. I just want to bring him up here. Mr. Ethan Van Sciver, good to see you, man. And I appreciate you taking some of your time to talk with me tonight.
It's a pleasure. I really believe in this. I believe in conversation. I believe that, there's a middle ground to be had. It's not all about clout. It's not all about who gets what from whom. It's not all about my perception of good faith versus bad faith. It's just an effing conversation on YouTube, Tom. I don't know why people are so afraid, terrified to speak to one another. After all, ultimately we serve the audience when we engage in these discussions, and truth hopefully wins out in the end.
Well, I mean, I guess that's my hope in the end. I don't know. I look at COMICSGATE in general, and like I said, I'm someone who's like way on the outside, kind of looking in and coming in very late on it. But I appreciate the work that I see that COMICSGATE tries to do, and then I even see, where, the controversy with Eric July has been recently, and I think why can't the world in some ways work together? And I think when I spoke with Vito, it seemed like everyone really does want each other to succeed. It's just these it almost seems like these little things that
I don't want Vito to succeed.
No?
No. There's some people who you don't want, because Vito has some ideas that are poisonous to society, and I'm sure you can guess which ones I'm talking about. If Vito succeeds, it's going to be a sad, sad day. If Vito succeeds, it's going to be armed security guards on school buses. We don't need that for our kids. We don't want Vito to succeed. And I think you should rethink about that and wheel it back a little bit.
But what about his
reel it back. Reel it back a little bit. We don't need Vito succeeding.
But what about his amazing comic?
That's really good. I did read Super Killer. Yeah, he sent that over, and it was in a half-finished form, and it was good. Yeah,
cool. So let's go back a little bit, because I don't want to jump too much into the meat, because a lot of people might not. I mean, everyone who's here live, it seems like these are your people, and I appreciate you sending them this way, and I appreciate everyone in the chat that has come by to support myself and Ethan. But for people who don't know you, who might be listening in on other platforms, give us a quick rundown of where you started, how your career began in comics, and how you kind of gotten to where you are today.
Right. Well, my name's Ethan Van Sciver. I am a Virgo. I was born in Provo, Utah, but don't hold that against me. I moved to New Jersey, yes, indeed, when I was 5 years old. And there I I learned what it means to be from New Jersey. It shaped the man that you see before you today. Not a lot of people understand that. We're a different breed. We play Jersey hard and rough. Yeah, like New Jersey, we don't listen, we bust each other's balls. We say things that might seem like they would crush other human beings, their feelings. And people who aren't from this area, people who aren't from Philly, Delaware, the tri-state area, they don't understand it. They get their feelings destroyed by us. It's all done out of love, though. You got to understand that.
For sure.
I started drawing comics when I was 19 years old officially. I drew comics all through grade school, though. I loved making comic books. It was a big part of my life. Ever since I discovered Marvel Comics, I loved them. I wanted to work in comics. So when I was 19 and got kicked out of high school, I graduated, but I felt like I got kicked out. I started drawing my own comic book called CYBERFROG. And I drew it for fun. I drew it for practice, because I figured I was going to hopefully draw Spider-Man one day. So I created a concoction of Spider-Man, Spawn, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. CYBERFROG. and started telling stories. And before too long, I had a publisher who wanted to publish CyberFrog. And then a bigger publisher, Harris Comics, wanted to publish CyberFrog because all they were doing was Vampirella. So they said, let's do some CyberFrog too. I was inking over there. I was inking some Vampirella stuff. No, it doesn't matter where you put the camera, Tom. My face looks just as fat. Oh, wait, that's better. Is that better or worse?
It's a little slimmer. Yeah.
Like right here.
There it's too wide. You look fat.
Too fat. Hold on.
Yep. That's good. Yep. And you get the JFK poster. That's good. I like it.
JFK autographed by the great, what's his name? Kevin
Costner?
Kevin Costner autographed that, yeah.
Nice.
You know, right up there over the CyberFrog thing there. Let me see again.
Right there. Yep.
Autograph photograph of Senator Joseph McCarthy persecuting communists right there.
Wow. Dang.
He signed that as he was persecuting communists. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, anyway, CyberFrog. Then I went to DC, and I worked there for 20 years. DC, and I worked for Marvel for about a year and a half on X-Men. Created some characters that you may or may not know. I created Glob Herman, the Stepford Cuckoos. I created Beak. I created Angel, a different Angel, the fat Puerto Rican girl with bug wings, Angel. And helped create Zorn a little bit. Helped create Phantom X a little bit. And then I went back to DC. I worked there for a long time. I worked on Green Lantern mostly. Green Lantern Rebirth, bringing back Hal Jordan. Yeah. And creating the emotional spectrum. All the red lanterns, the black lanterns, the yellow lanterns, all of those came from me. All the symbols that they wear on their chests that all the kids were wearing on t-shirts, I created all of those. I created those. I came up with the idea for that. And then I created all the characters. And then I went and did Flash Rebirth, and I brought back Barry Allen. And I brought back Barry, and I invented all this weird stuff with the Flash universe. It went on to become the TV show. And then, Trump got elected with my help.
Wait, have you done a Trump comic book yet? That's the only thing that matters right now.
I put Trump's face on a CyberFrog book, mugshot variant. Remember Trump's mugshot? Yeah. I took that picture and I put it on a CyberFrog cover. And I figured that would be good. People liked it. People were pretty happy with it. Yeah, I did.
Is that real?
Yeah, of course. Hold on a second here. There we go. Never surrender. Never surrender. Look at the eyes.
Yeah.
There's a reprint of the first issue of CyberFrog with Trump on it. This outraged people. This made people very angry with me.
And this is what got you cast out of like...
No. This was just last year. I did this. It's actually a couple months ago.
Okay.
No, I voted for Trump. And I took a picture of myself on Twitter. I was wearing a red hat that said, "Make America Great Again." Mm-hmm. And it was autographed by President Trump, too. I like to collect autographs when I went like this. Uh-huh. And I didn't realize this, but I thought, well, he's the president. My guy won. My candidate won. Surely everybody's going to be happy for me in the comic book industry. But, Tom, they weren't happy for me.
No. Mm-mm. No one liked Trump. Yeah.
Nobody could have said nobody wanted to celebrate my win. Nope. To me, I was like, and they were like, nope, L. And they worked hard to throw me out of the industry. They tried to prove that I was a white supreme pizza, and I'm not. I'm not a white supremacist at all. So anyway, that was the whole thing, and they got me kicked out of DC. They got me kicked out of the mainstream. They made it so that I was unemployable. And if people did try to employ me, SJWs attacked the companies that hired me. This is how they do it. This is called cancel culture. It's not the same as being fired. Cancel culture is different. Cancel culture is permanent. So, it's like if somebody came to me and if Marvel, some editor, some poor sap at Marvel wanted to give me a job, what would happen is an army of SJWs would come down and say, you can't hire him, or you're a piece of shit. This company, we're going to attack your company. Don't you understand? This guy's a white supremacist. Here's proof that he's a white supremacist. And then eventually I would have to be fired again. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of that going around. It's not just SJWs doing that.
Well, do you think you're better off? I mean, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you think that since like kind of being outed from I guess, mainstream comics, like you've almost had it better. Like it was almost a blessing. Like, oh, okay. Like at the time it sucks, right? Because you don't want, I mean, that's like what you were doing and it was your dream to some extent. And now you're doing a lot of independent stuff. You're crowdfunding a lot of stuff very successfully, might add. So is it in some ways better that you were like, now that you look back on it, like, hey, this was sort of a blessing and I can do what I want?
Tom, thank you for coping and seething on my behalf. But no, it's not better. It is not better to be canceled, to have your opportunities diminished. It's not better to have people think that you are a bigot. It isn't better.
Well, no, yeah.
It's not better to worry about going into polite society, a comic book convention, if you can call that polite society, and be afraid of being assaulted. These are not better. This is not a better scenario. It forced me, okay, to be clever, and it forced me to think on my feet, and it forced me to do for myself rather than depending on these big corporations, rather than depending on, contacts within the mainstream industry. It forced me to do something other than to depend on the fact that I've made these companies millions and millions and millions of dollars just based on the ideas that I've come up with. None of that matters to cancel culture. None of it matters. So no, it's not better. And people say that, like, aren't you glad? No, I'm not glad. I'm very angry about it. I continue to be angry about it.
And let me be not, I guess, reel it back in a way. It wasn't to diminish what happened, because that, trust me, it's one of those things that I can't even begin to imagine. And the people who go through it, you see it from many different celebrities. And like yourself, it was definitely not to minimize. So again, that sucks, and like even saying that sucks, it seems kind of like diminishing it too much. So again, I don't mean to minimize what happened.
No, I don't think you did that. I think you're asking an honest question, and that's what people say because it makes them feel better to say that. People say, "Well, aren't you better off now?" And the answer is, in some ways, yes. Yeah. But in almost every other way, no. It's not better. It's not better to be canceled. It's not better to be shunned from polite society because of your politics. It isn't.
True.
It's awful. It sucks. Is it better because I have more money now? Okay. Yeah, it's nice. But and it's better because it's forced me to be innovative, right? I mean, because that is cancel culture is the mother of innovation. You have to do something. But I mean, look at Gina Carano now. Like, very few people are actually canceled. They don't really know what it is. Gina Carano is canceled, and I relate to her. I understand what she's going through. I'm outraged on her behalf. It's like Gina Carano also had people kind of coping for her by saying, "Yeah, but don't worry, you're free to be independent now and do things." And to Gina Carano, independence to her means working for some Daily Wire movies. She used to work at Disney. Right. You have to get on your feet and build something that's going to be sustainable. And people telling Gina that she's better off now because she's free from the mouse. I'm sure she doesn't feel that way. It's terrible for her now. She doesn't. Yeah. Who has the energy? Who has the boundless energy to build something great? Anyway, that's it isn't better, but I want you to understand that I'm even though I'm angry, and that anger is a new thing to me. You could go back and watch my old interviews, and I'm like, "Hey, everybody, there's a fire, there's a pilot light that was lit in me that I recognize now my enemies and people who want to hurt me." And I am on fire inside about that shit all the time. There was an anger burning that's made me a far more interesting person, but it's also made me a fighter and somebody who is going to fight to not have that done to me again by anyone. And what it's led to is this, CYBERFROG, which has been great. COMICSGATE, where I fight on behalf of people who it's also happened to, or it's going to happen to, or people who just are outraged by what is happening in the mainstream. Okay. And I think that's been good. Ultimately, I think it's been good. It's been a plus.
So how does, when you get into this area where you've been canceled from the very way of life that you love and companies that you've made money for, how do you start assisting and supporting people like Gina Carano and others that are doing something similar or who have been canceled?
Well,
like even you personally, have you done anything yourself that has like maybe assisted them? Maybe not Gina specifically, but others.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do for Gina. She called me up and we had a really nice conversation. She wanted to see if I would do an action figure of her, and I said I'm just starting to do action figures. I don't know if I could, and I don't know what it would be. But she ended up doing it with Valaverse, which it looks really good. I just saw a picture of it. It looked terrific.
Yeah.
No, we what I did was I talked to my wife. We prayed humbly. I mean, in a frightened, found God again. In a new way, okay, sorry, I am, my wife is sinless. I mean, not literally, but, it's like, this is me, I am, I'm just turning my life over to completely and fully rely on God now, Frog. I'm turning my life over to Jesus Christ. And whatever you tell me to do is what I'm going to do. And I hear... I hear promptings. I feel like I'm being remote controlled sometimes by God. Not perfect. I make mistakes, but and had this idea to start crowdfunding comics. And at the same time, I was following Richard C. Meyer, his channel Diversity in Comics. We were friends, and we're talking like, hey, we got this enormous audience here. We could make our own comic books and crowdfund them to our audiences, and we could do what we want to do and not have to worry about social justice warriors. And he agreed with that. My wife did all the research, and she said, I think we should go with Indiegogo. Zach said, I think I'm going to go with Kickstarter. So you do Indiegogo, I'm going to do Kickstarter. He got canceled right off of Kickstarter. It was unbelievable. He got swarmed by SJWs. They kicked him off. Mm-hmm. We'd already planned to go with Indiegogo. My wife said they're a less popular platform, but they take less money from you, and they let you open a store afterwards. We should go with Indiegogo. And we did CYBERFROG there.
I was going to ask it. Has anyone had any issues with Indiegogo, like being canceled or having stuff being taken down for political reasons or otherwise?
We don't know. Indiegogo is shadow banning a lot of our campaigns, and we don't know why.
Okay.
Because they won't come forward and explain why. There are sometimes that they shadow ban campaigns, and I feel like I know what the reason is. There was one campaign in particular where George Soros was being painted as a vampiric pedophile, who was trafficking in children in a spaceship in outer space. And I could see why that was shadow banned. You know what I mean? Indiegogo doesn't want to get into some kind of a legal dispute with the creators of that comic book. They also don't want to get into a legal dispute with George Soros. So let's just shadow ban it and push it down and hope that nobody notices it. I think that made sense to me. Some COMICSGATE campaigns are shadow banned and others aren't. Some of mine are and others aren't. I don't really know why. But as far as I know, nobody has been... one person, one of Jordan Peterson's friends, was persecuted for her politics, her TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist politics. They did a comic book about that. I don't know. None of us have been really though. It's been mostly we've been mostly treated okay, mostly comparatively,
Okay. Well, yeah. And so you're, again, being someone from the outside looking into a lot of this stuff. You aren't the creator of COMICSGATE, but you're within the sphere of it. How do you fit into everything? Because I see almost everything that I see has your name attached to it as far as COMICSGATE goes. So how do you fit into this whole thing? And has it been like your vessel moving forward with comics basically since leaving DC or being outed from DC? Sorry.
So COMICSGATE, the name COMICSGATE came because social justice warriors wanted to denigrate critics, right-wing critics of progressivism in comics. So they wanted to compare us to Gamergate, which they feel they defeated. They feel like that was a moment where they won the culture war. They won Gamergate. Now that's debatable, but at least they feel like they won the narrative there. So when critics of progressivism in comics came forward, they just called us COMICSGATE. And they thought that was going to be something that was going to diminish us or make us look radical and crazy, and we'd also be easier to defeat. I found myself in the middle of COMICSGATE when they started to come after me, and I started to see efforts to deplatform me, to remove me, to get me fired, to make me unemployable. A bunch of my peers who were radical left-wing writers all got together and told DC Comics that they uniformly would no longer work with me because of my vote for Trump. And therefore, they did everything they could to dismount me. Like they did that, and then they had a bunch of other people working for Comics Alliance start to write articles in the media, calling me a white supremacist and why was DC hiring me. DC was going through a real weird time. They were trying to sell themselves to AT&T. They didn't need the negative press, so eventually they got rid of me, and I kept hearing COMICSGATE all around me. So February 2nd, 2018 was when DC called me and said, we're not going to be renewing your contract. And I said, you know what? Went on the internet. I said, I am COMICSGATE. And it didn't make sense in the context of what it was, because COMICSGATE was this fight, right? So for me to say I am this fight was a weird thing to do. But what happened was it changed it from being like a descriptor of a movement into also a group of people who adopted that label, which was meant to be like a disgrace. It was meant to diminish us. And we said, no, we're COMICSGATE. We're COMICSGATE now. And I started doing a show called COMICSGATE Live, in which I would bring on other creative people who I knew from the mainstream, who had been canceled, who couldn't get work anymore because of their politics. And I would start helping them crowdfund their comics on COMICSGATE Live, which made me the center of COMICSGATE because I had the biggest platform. My channel had 30,000 subscribers and was growing quickly. And because it had I had a very large platform, like you do, and well, I mean, you do, like you're getting a lot of viewers. Then people begin to depend on you. So there weren't a lot of people who had as many. I mean, there was Zach who had more than me at one point. There weren't a lot of people who were calling themselves COMICSGATE who had the reach that I did and the clout, as they say, that I did, because I worked for DC and people knew who I was, and I was willing to put myself on the line to support indie creators. And that became my thing. That became, and it still is. Like I still have one of the biggest platforms in COMICSGATE. And so sometimes people, and also I trademarked the word COMICSGATE because they tried to steal it, some strange people. So I trademarked it because I was the first one to use it in commerce. I was able to do that with COMICSGATE Live.
Okay.
So I think, I'm a big voice in COMICSGATE, and because I'm recognizable, when people talk about COMICSGATE, they talk about me a lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Is like every time I would see, before I started really, or as I got into like following in indie comics and then being on Twitter more, and then how the algorithm works, it starts just pumping things your way. I start seeing COMICSGATE. I'm like, okay, what is this? And then seeing you involved with that, then seeing live streams, and then all the way down the line to where everything is today. So it was just interesting. I wanted to know like where it all was, but it makes sense. I mean, it seems to line up with everything that I see. And so I had a question in my head. So I've seen some back and forths regarding the Iron Age tag with I don't even know who they are specifically, but some people who are writers. I know Razor Fist has used the term, and there seemed to be some pushback from you and some of the others in COMICSGATE that it's not an acceptable term to use. Can you explain that a little more? Because I can't really follow it. The threads get so mixed up. I just need to know, like, kind of where you're at with that.
Yeah, I think that Razor Fist came up with this term a year or two ago, called the Iron Age. He said, we're in a moment where independent creators, and this was right after Rippaverse happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? There really seemed like there was going to be this groundswell of indie creators who came up and did their own thing, and it would be significant. And the idea was, that independent creators would be able to, would choose to go independent and would choose to fight and push back and eventually compete against the mainstream. And that was called the Iron Age. And COMICSGATE would be a part of that. Like, it would be a part of the Iron Age. And when that first got said, I think my attitude was, yeah, okay, yeah, I hope so. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that's true.
Yeah.
And I was on Tim Pool, and they asked me what the Iron Age was, and I said, people are saying that this is what it is, you know, and that would be great. I mean, it would be terrific if it was true that, like, there were there's an upswell, just a groundswell of just incredible creative indie people who were getting together and, you know, doing it, using the internet to get their movies out there, get their music out there. And, you know, what have we seen, really? We've seen the Daily Wire, you know, which is still pretty corporate. We've seen Rippaverse. We've seen COMICSGATE, obviously. You know, we've seen Tom McDonald. We've seen Tim Pool and his music. And we've seen a smattering of novelists, like maybe Brandon Sanderson might count for that, you know, because he's a guy who's making millions on his novels. He's fantastic. But other than that,
right? Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but could it? I mean, I guess defining it, giving it a name, and I mean, again, as someone who is watching this stuff happen and seeing things, but you're seeing things pop up and people being more willing to get into it, and this is why I think, can't you, like someone like you who is like, you're an artist and you've helped people along the way, and I'm not saying you have any obligation to help them, but someone like you who sees like potential in different things happening, like people like yourself, others like you, can find ways to either crowdfund or move some of these projects forward to create that groundswell of like, oh, there's this really great graphic novel over here that someone wants to write, or a novella over here, or, you know, a movie over here. There's been talk of the epic verse too, them doing TV shows or movies, so, or, you know, shorts. So maybe, is that something that could be going? And this is, in my opinion, is nothing that happens overnight. I mean, 2 years seems like a splash in the bucket versus, you know, the lifetime of these creators. And I mean, I think Brandon Sanderson's a bit outside of that. I mean, he's been around for a bit, and like you said, he's
we don't want Brandon. We want Brandon Sanderson.
I mean, we want him. Yes.
Yeah. Let's add him. Like, if there's any legitimacy at all to the Iron Age being a thing, let's take Brandon Sanderson, please.
Right.
That's what I've been doing. I mean, you know, for 6 years, I've been utilizing my platform to promote comic books and creative people who otherwise would not get funded. I've been doing it free of charge. I've been doing it with I don't take any money from anybody. I don't want these people's money. I want them to succeed. I want people who want to make comics to be able to make comics. So I've been doing that for 6 years. That's what COMICSGATE is. Yeah. If there's something bigger than that, something more substantial than that, that'd be great. But to me, it seems like, and I know this makes everybody upset, but it seems like a marketing term. I'm not seeing any genuine. Nobody is calling anything like there. Here's why COMICSGATE is a thing. COMICSGATE is a thing because it was an event that happened and continues to happen. It was created by the progressive left and a conflict between the right, okay, in comics, and just regular people who just normies who wanted to read comics without progressivism crammed down their throat, called it COMICSGATE. News media articles called it COMICSGATE. There's a Wikipedia page demonizing it, COMICSGATE. My picture's in it. COMICSGATE is a thing because everyone decided that COMICSGATE is a thing. Our enemies, we decided it's a thing. Normies know that it's a thing. Everybody knows COMICSGATE is a thing. Yeah. We didn't just arrive and go, we're COMICSGATE. Our name is COMICSGATE. And then just say, this is COMICSGATE. People generally have to agree historically that something's happening. Something like the Iron Age, which is an epic. That's like an era you're talking about. Is usually it's usually agreed upon by a lot of people, okay? And this has not been agreed upon by anybody except for a few people in this space. And B, it's named afterwards. Everybody looks at a groundswell of creative people that really accomplished something amazing and said, you know what that was? 10 years later, 15, 20 years later, that was the Iron Age. we don't just get to go, you know what this is going to be? It's going to be the Iron Age. Because so far I haven't seen anything from the Epicverse except for a poster of Ryan Cannell with guns in a jail. I've not seen anything.
There's a good teaser they put out with a few people that I know. But, you know, again, it's a teaser. We don't know anything about what's in it. It didn't really give us much of an idea of what the movie's about. So, I mean,
it doesn't really feel like Iron, does it? Does it feel like Iron to you?
No,
does it feel like cotton candy? It's not. Right. It's the cotton candy age right now. Until people get up and they actually start creating things. I know it feels good. You want a laudatory term to say, I'm a part of this thing. But really, shut the fuck up and make something. Okay? Stop worrying about what you're called. Stop worrying about being a part of a club or a group. And create something. That should be your primary focus. Now, COMICSGATE exists because we're a life raft. It's a bunch of people working together, holding on to each other, in the middle of the ocean, trying to avoid the sharks and create comic books. It's called COMICSGATE. That's been bestowed upon us. That's an alternately super negative and super positive title, depending on who you ask. But the Iron Age, it sounds fun. I want it to be a real thing. But just like pronouns, it's a pretense. It's not real. It's everybody agreeing to something out of politeness. And if we're being real, why don't you do the work first? And then we'll all agree that this was the Age of Iron. Yeah, which actually was the Iron Age is actually 1995 to 2002, I believe, according to the comics. So in comics, there already was an Iron Age.
No, and I can agree with that. Like, again, there's a lot of stuff that I see in Twitter. I try not to take too much as like, this is what real life is. I do think for the most part, it's people being really extremely angry and likely they either didn't get enough sleep or, they got the hungies or whatever it is. And that's why they're, battling back and forth most days. And even the content that comes out nowadays, it's exhausting a lot of times watching the same things, the same videos over and over. And that's not to disparage anyone because people make a living doing certain things, making videos on everything, call it grifting, call it work, whatever you want to call it. But I agree. I think at some point you have to, the work needs to be done first. And then once those things happen, we can look back and be like, this was the Age of Iron. This is where we picked ourselves up out of the shit. This is where Hollywood went to garbage.
That's not easy to do.
Right. No, and I agree.
That would be an incredible thing if there were enough talented people in this space to actually create art, music, comics, literature, movies that could compete with the mainstream. Yeah. That's not a game. That's not something funny and fun that we just call each other and hashtag Iron Age on the internet. That's a serious thing. And if you want me to play along with it, I need to see something. Now, if you don't care if I play along with it, I'm not going to play along with it because I'm not seeing the work. Okay, I actually am a part of something that is producing a lot of great comic books that can compete with the mainstream if they were in the same market as the mainstream. Yeah. If it's just about me being nice and not hurting people's feelings, I mean, I guess. But people ask me, like, what do you think of the Iron Age? I was like, 2 years on, I don't see it. I don't think it's a thing. I think it's a marketing term now. And I know it upset a lot of people, but get used to it, guys. I'm going to tell you the truth, and it's going to upset you. Unless you're ready to hear the truth. Go to Trashcast. Watch Trashcast. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that again, I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff. I do think there's a lot that needs to happen. And I think I would like to give people the benefit of the doubt that they are working on it and it's coming. I've met a lot of the people who are working or talk about the Iron Age and everything, or they're involved with these organizations, and I want to believe they're doing good stuff, and I can't wait for when I see a teaser trailer from a company like the Epicverse. I think I like it. This looks good, but I've also watched a lot of trailers that I've seen and thought the trailers looked awesome. Then you see the movie and you're like, God damn, like you really
you really have to have respect for creative people. So one of the things that's happening inadvertently with all of this indie creation is a new respect being formed for the people we denigrated in the mainstream for the last 10 years. Because it isn't easy, is it? I mean, making a movie, even a shitty movie like The Last Jedi, which the themes in The Last Jedi were despicable, but it was still better than anything we could do.
Yeah.
And that's legit. Like, that doesn't feel good to say. Doesn't feel good to realize that. A lot of these comic books, you can denigrate Mark Waid and Gail Simone, but these comics are still better than most of these people could do. Those comics, these are guys who know how to tell stories. They know how to make movies. They know how to draw comic books. And we really need to get up off our high horses and fucking learn our craft. That's important. I'm here to help. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm here to help people. And there are a lot of people in COMICSGATE who are skilled professionals, who, if you don't want to listen to me because you think I'm acidic, like I said, I got that fire burning in me. Okay, I do. That pilot light. Okay, I have a very short fuse right now. I am an angry person. I think that's true. But there are still other people who will teach you, and you need to humble yourself to learn how to do this. It took us decades to learn how to tell stories, and you're not going to pick it up right away. You're not just going to instinctively know. You are going to have to learn. So if it's an Iron Age right now, we're still little tiny baby. We're like, what's a particle of iron? I mean, we need to really kind of learn and grow together.
Well, almost, yeah, and maybe in your opinion this is too much, but in my opinion, as far as the Iron Age goes, I think we're warming the coals at this point. We're whatever the fancy term is, we're stoking the fire is what we're doing. We're heating that up, and again, once we start hitting it, we start seeing things come out, then we might be able to start having a different conversation. But
yeah, I want to move. I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. We do come to, like, kind of now as we get to the present and everything, we kind of get into the Rippaverse stuff, and you had done a cover for, was it ISOM 1 that you had done the cover for, or 2? 2, that's right. And it kind of explained how this has gone, because it seemed like in the beginning you were kind of a fan of what was going on. You had given ISOM 1 a decent review and said it was good. You liked it. That was pretty much the gist of what I had seen. You didn't really go into detail on it, but and now you guys are kind of at odds. And this is where when I see the drama, I think this is one of those unfortunate parts, because I think you guys could coexist in a way that could make this really huge. And I know that there's a lot of the beef has been spawned from his critiques, Eric's critiques of your some of your friends and other people in COMICSGATE, and I don't necessarily disagree, or I would understand why you'd be upset or why, but what has been kind of transpiring, and why have you guys gotten to this point where it seems to be like button heads?
No. What happened was, Eric July reached out to me many years ago and said, I want to do what you're doing. And he started sending me all these texts saying, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I was like, oh, this is great. Yeah, that's good. You have a big audience. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to do fantastic. I said, you want to write comic books? He's like, yes, I'm already working on the first one. Wow, okay, that's terrific. Great. This is just COMICSGATE stuff to me. Sure. How can I help you? How can I be of assistance to you? And so, yeah, he showed me this character. He showed me a character design, and it was, it was very bland. And I just said, what is this? And he said, his name is ISOM. And I said, what's his superhero name? He said, that is his superhero name. I said, this is, okay. Good luck, so let me know how I can help you. So he launched ISOM, and of course, because I'm COMICSGATE, I promoted the hell out of it. And I was encouraging to him. And I kind of said, I do the same thing for all COMICSGATers whose books come out. You're going to, I am Uncle Ethan, human sunbeam, okay? I'm going to be encouraging to you like a kindergarten teacher. This is great. I want you to do more of this. Maybe change this, maybe keep your ears open, do this. But I mean, good work. And he reached out to me and said, would you do the second issue cover? I said, yeah, sure I will. Yeah, of course. So I did the second issue cover for him. And then I became aware that there was somebody named Dick Masterson and his partner Vito, who were criticizing this whole thing that Eric July had set up as being a scam to bilk money from the audience. And I said, to me, my attitude about that was, that sounds familiar. That's what people have been saying about COMICSGATE this whole time, and that's bullshit. So I'm well equipped to push back against this. Then Dick Masterson wrote a review of ISOM. He wrote a very nice structured analysis criticizing the story structure of ISOM #1. And I read it, and I went, oh, this is really good. This is great. This is a really good, because I mean, ISOM was, I mean, it seemed like a comic book, but yes, as I was reading it, I was like, there's a lot of, like, this is not, it could be better. You know what I mean? It definitely, it's being nice. It could be better.
Right.
So anyway, I read that review, and I just thought that Eric July was going to take that review. I said, hey, you should definitely take this review and read it. This is a great analysis of where ISOM story structure kind of fell down. You need to get better. And Eric responded by calling Dick a retard and telling me to shut the fuck up and to not amplify him. Which to me was an extreme reaction to valid criticism. And then I started to hear some stuff like that criticism was in bad faith. And I said, what does that mean? What does bad faith criticism mean? Mm-hmm. Well, he's coming from a place where he wants to destroy my business. And to me, as somebody who's been working in comics for 30 years, that doesn't make any sense to me. If he wanted to destroy your business, he'd be giving you bad criticism, like criticism that isn't helpful. This was all helpful criticism that, if heeded and listened to, would help him grow his business. I was on a live stream with him with Yellow Flash where I tried to explain this to him. He was furious with me and told me that I was amplifying the narratives of his detractors. This is bullshit, Tom. This is not how creative people grow. And for somebody who has an enormous following, the way that he does, of people who are listening to him and people who might want to be a part of something called the Iron Age, to create an idea that your critics are detractors and that all criticism has to come from a place of love and patience, it doesn't. Okay, I was trying to explain over and over again, like, your best critics are going to be people who hate you and want you to fail. It doesn't really matter. They're going to be vicious, and they're going to, if they're good, their criticism is going to be sharp. It's going to be cutting. It's going to be ultimately helpful if you listen. So it doesn't mean you have to parade them on your shoulders and say, I love Vickyverse. Right. You don't have to do that. You just have to listen and understand what good criticism is. And I became aware of the fact that Eric had very thin skin, no sense of humor, and was not planning on trying to grow. Didn't want to listen to criticism and was putting ideas out into the audience that were damaging to the idea of indie comics ever succeeding in a real way in the mainstream, ever succeeding.
Well, here's the thing that one of the things I noticed, though, what I will say is, I mean, I don't know. I spoke with Vito. You said you had watched part of or you'd watched the interview with Vito. The one thing I had noticed about Vito and Masterson to an extent, and I'm very interested in talking with Dick as well about this, because their criticism did seem to be a bit bad faith in that they didn't really seem to like it would have been better faith. It would have been good faith if they were able to, I don't know, maybe it's just how it's done because the name calling had already happened on Eric's side. But like, if you really want to critique what's going on, like really break it down and let's leave all the BS out of it. And again, maybe it's because that ship had sailed because the other side had already happened. That Eric had already said his piece on it. Because I have had my criticisms of ISOM, and there's things that I don't particularly like. I do enjoy some story elements, and I'm interested to see where it's going. But their videos had seemed, and their takes on Twitter had seemed like, yo, man, like, let's really, this is how we're going about it. Like, I don't know. That's just where they're, from my point of view, being someone who didn't have any skin in the game, seemed like their side was way more bad faith than this side. But again,
there's
I
no
don't know.
such thing when it comes to criticism. Tom, there's no such thing as bad faith or good faith criticism. See, this is why I don't like Eric July, because he put that into your head. You think that in order for criticism to be valid, we have to be friends. We have to get along. We have to be polite to each other. This person has to be my friend and not be trying to hurt me. That's not what criticism is. A good critique is true whether the person loves you or hates you. And speaking of bad faith criticism, my criticism telling Eric that his book was good was bad faith criticism. I did it because I didn't really care if he grew or got better. I just wanted him to feel good about his accomplishment. Me telling him, this is just great. Great job, Eric. That was in bad faith. I was not being a good critic. That was not worth anything. Dick Masterson saying, fuck you, Eric. I hope your business fails. And here, by the way, is a 3-page document about the story structure flaws of ISOM number 1. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's good faith or bad. It's either true and valid or it's false and invalid, thereby making it worthless. So that's what people need to understand. I understand the fight and I understand the trolling, and all of that is interesting. All of that just makes accepting criticism a little bit more difficult. But you know what? Like, a lot of the trolling and fighting happened because of this initial inability to just understand that one point about criticism. Good faith and bad faith, not a thing when it comes to criticism. Valid criticism, invalid criticism. CYBERFROG should be blue. I don't like the book because he should be blue. Invalid criticism. CYBERFROG ended on a poor note. It should have ended this way. It would have wrapped up this. Valid criticism. That's the difference. And that's the problem. I mean, it's like when you're able to just call people good faith and bad faith. This is a concept that social justice warriors invented so they wouldn't have to debate people like Sargon of Akkad. He's coming at us in bad faith. Therefore, Anita Sarkeesian doesn't have to debate him because he means us harm. Well, it doesn't fucking matter if he means you harm. Either what he's saying is going to be true or it's going to be false. And it's your job as somebody who is a public figure to face those things and answer for them.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I think that, and this is where, again, for people who I'm friends with, you know, obviously I see some of you in chat. Like, I know that people are they're not mad at me. They're disappointed that I'm platforming you. But like, again, this is why I have these conversations, because the point is well said. Like, yes. In not understand, like, coming from that point of view, I get it. And and I can agree with you and also still say, hey man, I support this business. I support this person. I mean, I don't know why the two things can't walk the same.
Well, the reason why I don't support Eric July anymore is because I started to have this conversation with him where I was trying to get through to him that in order to improve and grow, he needed to accept the fact that criticism was coming his way from people who didn't like him very much. And in order to become a better writer, if that's what he wanted to do, he needed to open his ears. And you know what he did? He sent me a text message, which I don't like. I don't like when people text me. That's on my phone. I don't like that. Saying either stop platforming or seeming to agree with the narratives of my detractors, or I'm going to open the floodgates of your enemies who I stream with, but don't allow them to talk shit about you on you. And that was a threat. That was one of these things where it was like, either do this or stop doing this, or this is going to happen to you because of me. That's a threat. I know a lot of people didn't understand that, but I'm from New Jersey. I understand when men come into a pizzeria and they say, you know what? It's going to be better for you if you order your ketchup packets from this business. It's going to be bad for you if you don't. Well, they're just trying to sell you ketchup packets. I understand what a threat looks like because of where I'm from. Right. Either do this or this is going to happen to you is a threat. And I did not like that at all. But I understood it, and I kind of said, boy, I'm in real trouble now. I'm going to have, heel versus baby face. I'm going to have yellow flash. I'm going to have all these people that are precipitously thinking about possibly coming down on me and taking the audience that we share possibly away from me. I'm going to have that happen to me if I don't go along with what Eric says here. I better be quiet. I better stop saying that he needs to, that Dick Masterson's right about this person's right. Better stop doing that.
So is a lot of the drama now just it's coming down to like, I'm just not going to take any shit anymore, and it's like you said, it's like you just have this pilot light in you now, and you're just not going to let it go out, and when something sparks, you're just going to kind of, is that kind of where it's all at now?
Yeah, I was quiet for 2 months because I was thinking more about money than I was about what I stand for, and I was thinking about, boy, I'm making a lot of money on CYBERFROG. A lot of our fans are shared fans. It's really going to be bad if I come down on Eric July. He said, if I continue to speak what I know to be the truth, I'm going to be in trouble financially. I'm going to lose money. Mm-hmm. And so I was a coward for 2 months. And I can't live like that. That's not how I am. I don't live like that. I don't want to play clout games. I don't want to do that. And I've got to, I can't rely on, I got to do, Frog, fully rely on God, okay? I got to just speak the truth. I got to kind of let the chips fall where they may. And I think ultimately, yeah, like, when I just came out, I showed the text. I got a whole lot of shit from people saying, you shouldn't show people the private text. I shouldn't be being sent texts like this. I shouldn't have dummies trying to muscle me and strong arm me behind the scenes. I'm Ethan Van Sciver. I'm an accomplished creative person who has built myself up from complete devastation and destruction into this. Okay, like I know what the fuck I'm doing. I should not have to be talked to this way. I shouldn't be bullied by retarded YouTubers who I don't care about. That's not what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. I'm nearly 50 years old. I'm going to push back on these guys. And whatever happens, happens. I mean, if I believe that there's some divine influence in my life. I do believe that. I believe that God's going to make whatever happens to me is because I deserve it, because God said so. But ultimately, I'm going to look back on this catastrophe that's incoming with people who, I mean, just don't care about art. They don't really care about art. They care about business. And I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right side of this. And that I'm consistent, and that I'm honest. I'm going to be honest with people. I'm going to be honest with my audience. And that's just the way it is. And is that the pilot light? Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Trash cast.
No, yeah, I mean, I know that, I don't know. I've as I get older, I mean, I'm not almost 50, I'm almost 40, but like but having 2 kids, being a dad, being a husband, like you learn to like pick your battles. You learn like what's important in life, and a lot of this stuff that I see, like it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't concern me, but it clues me in on where a lot of people are, and where, people are fighting for their livelihood. You are fighting for your creative aspect, things that you've accomplished, your creative goals. Eric is doing what he's doing, trying to build his business empire, whatever. And all these other people who are saying this, and anyone in COMICSGATE, they're all trying to do their thing, and they're fighting for it. And I look at something. So your campaign that you did with Camelot and getting the CyberFrog wrap for his ARCA NASCAR, it was insane to watch that whole thing explode. It's obvious that you obviously care about your own product, but you care about getting people to where they want to be. And that is pretty rad.
That's what we should be doing. We're not in competition with each other unless we say that we are. I'm not in competition with any of my COMICSGATE friends here. All of these guys, I want them to do well. I want them to do better than me. I want them to get their comics made. Somebody like Camelot, who's another guy who got pushed to the side by these people, bullied by these people, same people we're talking about right now. This is a guy who just wants to race in Talladega, and he stands by his friends. And he doesn't want to be bullied by them. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he can race in Talladega. We were able to we wrote him a check for $50,000 so that he could run 2 races. Yeah. Nice CyberFrog wrap in his car. It's a little promotion for me. It's going to be so much fun. And this is what it should be. It should be fun. It shouldn't be like this. But also, I just want people to care about this. I really want people to care. You know what matters right now is stories. I care about telling stories. I care that people learn how to do this, because the big problem with the mainstream is that stories have been pushed aside in favor of leftist politics and progressivism. That's what we all agree about.
Yeah.
People care less about stories now than they care about pushing an agenda, whatever that agenda is.
What do you think
I don't want that. I want people to learn how to tell stories, because stories are infinitely valuable. You can't put a price on a great story. Can you put a price on something like, I guess Star Wars you could, couldn't you? 5.02 billion. Can you put a price on these stories? You can't. They're priceless. They last forever. They're going to last. The best stories last forever. So I want people to learn how to write. I want people to learn how to draw. And I want people to take this seriously. This is not just a business. It's an art form. People need to know how to get better at this. And that's all like when you get to be, I know you're a young man. You're not quite 40 yet. When you get to be 50 years old like me, and you start staring at like, hey, look, I'm already over the hill. The other half of my life, what did my life mean? What was it for? So what has my life meant? Ultimately it's meant COMICSGATE. It's meant stories. That's what I want people to remember me for. I want people to remember that, like, I cared so much about comic books that I spent, after getting canceled, I was able to pick myself up and throw myself into the job towards the end of my life of helping other people make comic books and tell stories. Maybe one of them will be the story that becomes the answer to breaking through to the mainstream and changing things for the better again. That's a worthy goal. That's everything to me. That's 100% my focus. I'll fight for that.
Are there any comics in COMICSGATE that have the potential to break into something like mainstream, or even have the ability? I mean, CYBERFROG aside, like, is there anything, stories that you're impressed by that you think deserve more, or have the potential to be like a part of something that's like the next Marvel or DC?
Yeah, I mean, everywhere. Godlike by John Malin, I think, is going to be really good. Look at this. Reaper Destroyer by Joe Sontag. Look at that. That's better than anything Marvel is putting out right now. Reaper Destroyer. Yeah, I get sent this stuff all the time. I'm so excited. Wraith of God. Everything that Shane Davis is doing. Starlight Cats, Disney ripped him off, in my opinion. They did something called Super Kitties that was exactly his idea. They stole his Kickstarter campaign concept. That's how good that was. Inglorious Rex is fantastic. Irene Strakowski's Fiendish is a great read. I really enjoyed that. There is a lot of good stuff coming out of COMICSGATE. And it all deserves to be funded. It all deserves to be explored. It all deserves everybody's support. Everybody, instead of going to the movies every week, take $25 and sink it into an Indiegogo campaign by a COMICSGATer instead. That's how to make a difference. And I believe in that. I preach that. I talk about that every single day on YouTube, and I mean it. And I love it.
I want to take a quick, short little thing. They got some super chats here that built up, so I want to go and say hi. I didn't ignore these. I did not ignore these. This goes on as a podcast on Spotify.
Keep the super chats. Let's go. Super chats.
But from we got Super Wacky Wabbit, mine Igor, $2 Canadian pesos. Thank you so much. I can't even read. G Dash says thanks for inviting EVS. Yeah, I'll invite anyone. I'm very interested in talking to just
even
about
me.
anyone I can. Yep,
even me.
Jose M for 199 says ironically Trash Cash tonight was also number 32. Hey, nice. Leon K with the 5 spot. Thank you, Leon. Here's to conversations amongst respectful peers. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think talking to people, whether you agree or disagree, is important.
What do you think of my energy, Tom? Are you scared of me?
No, I mean, I think, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think you're slightly patronizing at times, but I think maybe,
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
maybe it's a test, but no,
I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be patronizing to you. I'm talking not to you, but to the audience. Do you understand? I'm
right.
not patronizing them either. I'm just being entertaining. I hope,
No,
and trying
no,
to
yeah,
convey something. But if you feel like I'm being patronizing to you, I want to apologize.
no.
100% respect for you because you have me here, and there are a lot of people who are afraid to have conversations at all. So
Yeah,
let me be
no,
clear
and
about that.
yeah. Katie Did's channel for $1. Thank you so much, Katie Did. I seen you in the chat talking, so thank you very much. The Geek Getaway, EVS is a pie supremacist. Hail COMICSGATE. Thank you for the $2. Jeremiah M for another $2 says putting a tip in the jar. Good interview, man. Hey, I thank you very much. And then Crypto Ken with a 5 gifted Shagsworth memberships. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then we have $10 from Mac Grendel. Says, good interview so far, Tom. Also, cool lighting and angle. I know it sucks. I gotta swap it so I can look at the person and not like have us both look in a different way. It's different. Subbed. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Where am I here? Is it this one? There we go. Dark Glow Comics for $1.99 says show State of Comics by Michael Bancroft.
The Lucent by Michael Bancroft, another great COMICSGATE book, well written. Doc Alpha by Literature Devil. I mean, I could go on and on. They're all great.
Max Grendel with another $10 says, that's like some new Navy pilot showing up and telling people what his call sign is. Doesn't work that way.
Hey, we don't get to pick our own code names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Tom, I want you to call me Spike from now on. My name is Spike. And you're going to go, who says your name is Spike? Me? It's like, that's not how things happen, really.
True. ASC presents for $10. Thank you so much. Eric July is a false flagger of parody, and he openly claims to not believe in free speech. This is evil to me, and so bad faith is better than Eric deserves. Hail COMICSGATE, young Klippa. The discussion of free speech is always a sticky one because it's like when you say I believe in free speech, it's everything. You agree in everything. It's not the stuff that you don't like. And restricting people from saying stuff, even the most vile, awful shit, you can't restrict that. That's part of the freeness of speech, which, you know, a lot of that you're not going to like. Wandering Samurai for $20. Thank you so much. Says new sub, Hail E, CYBERFROG 3 Red Extermination on Indiegogo. Nice little plug there. Margaret Miracle. Great conversation, Tom and Ethan, for 2 Canadian pesos. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And Max Grendel for $20. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Says way too much. Not nice equals not good in the world. Nice does not equal good. Some of the most important people in my growth were not nice at all. Coaches, flight instructors, drill instructors, bosses. Nice ain't fixed. Yeah, I can agree with that. And Ethan, when you were talking about it earlier, talking about criticism, you know, part of growing up for me is like the tough love aspect of things, which I think the world has gotten away from, right? I think we've been told by a lot of people we need to, everything has to be done with kid gloves. That's why you're seeing a lot of this DEI crap. We have to include everyone.
You ever play sports? Did you play sports growing up?
Sure did. It was college.
Were your coaches nice to you?
Nope.
No.
Well, sometimes, but most of the time, no.
Right. Why? Because they want you to be better.
Yep. Professor Geek for $2 says, great interview. You're both rocking this. Hey, man, thank you. Suit for $2 Australian says, ask Ethan about the next best thing to come. Lunga. What's is that?
Lunga is somebody who says he sent me his comic book for review, but I have not received it, and I don't know what to think. It seems like a hoax to me, honestly. Seems like I'm being hoaxed.
Snorum Aru? Laru? Just
it says you are a moron. You are all morons backwards.
Oh, look at that. Yep. $2 says thanks for just the facts, Tom. Great job. Thank you. And Bonzo for $1.99 says back Jaegerbomb by Donald DeLay, CG Old Blood. I happen to know Bonzo, so thanks for the tip. And Sumo Orange for $5 says drama only hurts the fans. We agree on 99% of the issues. We have a common foe in wokeness. Shags is the next Joe Rogan. Well, we'll see. I'll need to get that studio going here soon, so we can all sit down, smoke cigars, and drink some whiskey together.
Let's
That'd be
go.
awesome.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for the super chats. That was really awesome.
I am sorry, Tom. It's my man. Like, if I'm being patronizing, it's nothing personal. It would be a personal flaw of mine that's the way I communicate, and I don't mean to be that way. So I do want to apologize to you for coming across that way. I don't mean it. Fine. You understand? No disrespect.
No, and because I've watched your stuff enough, and I've seen, I would get the dynamic anyway, and in some ways, I think, if nothing else, it would be a test. Like, is this guy for real? Is he able to hang? And if anything, I consider it respect. I'm totally fine, man. No.
It's where I'm from.
No.
It's as Eric would say, it's a cultural thing, maybe. Yeah, it could be.
Well, what's funny, so I'm not fully doxing myself, but I live in Utah. So it's funny that you're from Provo. I drive by there occasionally.
Are you LDS?
No. My wife's family was raised LDS, but I don't partake in religion. But I lived in Red Bank in Middletown, New Jersey for a couple years. So, which is far from the Philly area, but I know exactly what you mean when you talk about Jersey, because it's just a totally different, like, it's like Philly, and like there's like Patterson and like Bergen County area, and like even like Jersey Shore area, that's like totally different from the rest of Jersey. People don't realize that a lot of Jersey is like trees and looks nice, but those areas like Cherry Hill, and
that's where I'm from, the Cherry Hill area there. Yeah.
And my stepdad is actually from Hamilton, so he grew up in that area. So it's just funny how the world is small. Really, really cool. But we did get as Camelot would say, a red boy. We got $50 from Salty. Says, long live COMICSGATE. Every time EVS starts talking about making stories, I have to get off my ass and get back to work on my book. Don't see that passion from the big two on the hairy shoulder man. Story is everything. Enjoying the show. Glad to become a subscriber. Hey, thanks so much. And I see Wookie Be Bad gifted 5 channel memberships as well. Thank you very much, Wookie. I really appreciate it. And then one more from Suit. Sorry, let me bring this up here. 5 Australian says that the Lunga age is the next biggest thing. It will be the next age of creativity. Poor Ethan is just waiting for it to arrive.
I don't think it's real. I don't even think it's a real thing. I think I'm being hoaxed.
Yeah, no, it's the world. It's a small world, but this whole interview has been fun. It's been certainly educational. I think that, I think that people. I just think it's easy to hate across the internet. I think it's easy to misrepresent things. I think it's easy to just, I don't really care for this person. I hate him. Done with it. I understand people beef on online and with things. I just know that a lot of people, especially the vocal one, like, you have your issues with Eric. Eric has his issues with you and all that. That's understandable. A lot of the people in the comments, I know if we had run into each other on the street, not knowing who each other were, we'd all shake hands, enjoy a beer, smoke a cigar, whatever, and have fun. Like, that is just, and talk about our love for comics, right? But that would be what we do. But it's easy on here. Well, yeah, the same,
Yeah,
but
YouTube is a different thing. There's a lot of fear of YouTube is a very fragile, ephemeral thing where people are afraid of their businesses being disrupted. And maybe that's bleeding over when YouTubers become comic book creators too. There's that same type of thing where, if I bring this guy around, he's going to disrupt my business where I make fun of Star Wars. And there's a lot of money in that. If I bring this guy here around, there might be some bad faith arguments that make my business selling comics a little bit more difficult. Ultimately, you just have to rely on your talent and your innate ability, and you can't worry about that. A lot of the fighting is about people worrying about their bidness. They're kind of phony bidnesses, in my opinion. And people should just kind of relax and have a good time. I'll talk to anybody. I'm not worried about it. Anybody who wants to have a conversation, I want to talk to people. I think it's nice.
Can I want to
Yeah.
ask one more question in regards to like reverse stuff. What were you surprised by the number of the campaigns that they? I mean, 3 million seems like, I mean, that's a big number. Was it surprising that that hit there and then the multiple ones after that?
No, it wasn't surprising. I guessed it because what I did was I told he and I talked a lot. I calculated what percentage of my audience bought CyberFrog, and then I multiplied that times his audience, and I told him he was going to make like $4 million on his campaign, maybe even five. So it didn't surprise me. What surprised me subsequently is how quickly those numbers are falling off. To go from 3, 2, and 1, this is not good. Not a good situation. There's no reason that should happen. I don't think he expected that was going to happen. I think he was expecting issue 2 to maybe even double the sales of number 1. That's what CyberFrog 1 and 2 did. CyberFrog 1 made this much, issue 2 doubled the sales of that. So I think he was thinking that was going to be the case. But it wasn't. So I think that's more alarming. The truth of the matter is, if you have a large audience, Tom, and this is why COMICSGATE works well with me, like promoting other people's books, you're going to sell whatever you want to sell to them. A certain percentage of them is going to be receptive to buying your merch. If your merch is a coffee mug, they're going to buy it. If your merch is an action figure, they're going to buy it. A comic book, they'll buy it. But the question is your audience a comic book buying audience? They really want comics, or did they want something else? That, you know. So that's I think that's the situation that Eric finds himself in right now. We talk about him. It's a fascinating thing to watch. It's really fun to watch him sort of his business and the kind of situation that goes along there, because I think people generally wanted him to succeed. They want him to do well, but at the same time they're like, I don't think we really want comic books from you. We want you to do well, but we're here to hear you talk about the roads and libertarianism and stuff, and you know.
Well, what about, and I know everyone's making it fun, the rip ascend. So is that, I mean, that seems like almost like the pivot to what you're talking about is like maybe maybe this was a way to sort of fund into this business where he's not writing, but he can generate like a business where he's fulfilling
It's a shipping business, yeah.
Right, it's a shipping business for other creators. Is that something like more in line?
It's a start. But I mean, again, why does it have to be comic books? It's like now he's got his friends who also are in similar situation. Like, you know, what if Melanie Mack makes a comic book? It's like, is that what people want from Melanie Mack? They'll buy it once, you know. It's like, so it's a temporary thing. I really think, and I really think that, you know, my thing for Eric would be to get into the business. Now that you've established a shipping business, you just have to change what your product is into something that a larger, like right now, 9% is the percentage of audience that'll buy a comic book from me or him. Is there something else that like 20% of your audience would be interested in? And is it something that's maybe consumable? You've got you know, quartering doing coffee. Coffee's okay. Something else, something that is that people will have to always buy every month. You know, that they'll use up and that they need and that everybody wants. And that would be the thing that he should put his brain to, because he's got the business ability to run a business, to run a warehouse, to run a shipping company. I think that's clear. But he's not a comic book guy. He's not a comic book writer. But he's not a, you know, not really a comic book publisher either. It's not really what he should be doing, in my opinion. But he could definitely become like clothing. I don't know, something else. Like what would you, I came up with Rip-a-Drip, which would be like
I actually
gear.
like that. I actually like that. I will
like
say.
Cool design clothing designed by Eric July that's like, you know, libertarian hip hop shit. I don't know, but you know, something that more people would be interested in, and he could actually become a billionaire. You know, interesting stuff happens when A lot of these actresses will just get out of acting and just make a makeup line that they sell through Walmart and become billionaires, because every woman needs makeup. It's like, so. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. He's not going to listen to that, but he should.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, people learn the hard way sometimes, and that's, I'm sure you've watched people rise and fall in the industry, with comics, and then probably other things. I'm sure you've offered advice to people, and they've just been, I know better, and they do something different. Or, we could be totally wrong, and this takes off, and it's something great. Who knows? And that's the thing is, I guess, to be 100% fair and honest, the reason I followed him in the past was because, I mean, I liked his takes with libertarianism and some of the like social commentary he was doing. So, when he came out with something like this and was trying to tell a story, I was like, all right, like, I mean, in my opinion, you haven't steered me wrong, so I'll follow. You stick with the things that you trust. So why not? But again, none of this, I have my criticisms. I don't think anything's perfect, and I voiced it to people before, and that's where it is. And I will, and I think I tweeted today, like, I will continue to support until I find a reason not to. And even in the past, like, couple of weeks, I've looked at stuff and been like, ugh, I don't know, man. Like, is that what is that real? Is that this, that, whatever?
Well, whatever happens to him is going to happen. I think what's important is COMICSGATE, and I just want to, I don't want to talk about Eric all day long.
Yeah, that's fine.
It'd be great to just tell people, go check out Inglorious Rex 2. Go check out Godlight. Go check out Graveyard Shift. Go check out Return to Monster Island. All of these great projects that are on Indiegogo. You can watch my show, COMICSGATE Kings, Mondays at 7 or 8 p.m. usually, and just see real comic book creators who used to work for Marvel and DC and have gone indie and know how to tell stories and are, making great comic books. Support them, support crowdfunding, and support that, because that's really, if you care about the culture war, if you care about, changing things, the only way to really change things effectively is by telling great stories. And you're going to find them with us, COMICSGATE Kings. And thanks, I really appreciate it, Tom. I don't want to. I think what people want, and I'm conscious of this, is they want drama with Eric July. They want to hear what I have to say about it. But it gets, you know what I mean. I've said it. It feels tiresome, at some point. He's going to do his new campaign. Yaira is going to be interesting. We'll see how that does. I think it's going to do well.
No, and honestly, like, your stuff in following you specifically on Twitter and seeing the stuff that you're working on and the stuff that you guys talk about, like, I've always been, the reason we're sitting here is because I like taking in opinions that I wouldn't normally seek out, or growing up, it was always inside my bubble. And over the past few years, I've sort of opened up to listening to things I don't agree with and people I don't agree with all the time. So having this conversation with you is really good. Listening to the stuff you say, because again, I don't disagree with some of the things that you said tonight. It's refreshing to hear. It's refreshing to talk to people that are on the opposite side of things sometimes. But I like that you're creating. I like that you're inspiring people to work hard. There's been plenty of people in the chat who are inspired by what you do, and I think that's the point. Regardless of who you support, I really, really think you're doing good work. So thank you for taking the time to sit down with me tonight. I just want to read a couple more super chats and we'll head out for the night. There was a couple that came in. Embed for £2 says Ripa was also against crowdfunding out of spite. Stu K for $4.99 said yes. Ethan is dry pan and sarcastic sometimes. For example, no one knows if he actually likes The Killing Joke because of the way he reviewed it.
That's my favorite comic. What do you mean?
And two Australian discuss the Satan Sisters. Don't be shy. No, we're not going to talk about the Ripaverse anymore. We're gonna head out for the evening. I appreciate your time, Ethan. I hope we can maybe do this in the future. But I will continue to watch your shows and follow you on Twitter. like, I hope we get to meet sometime in person if you're ever out at conventions or whatever. But I'll be sure to seek you out and say hello. But yeah, if there's anything you want to plug before we go, I know you just kind of did, but if there's anything else,
I want to plug your show. Everybody subscribe to the Shagsworth right now. I don't know how many people are watching. Last I heard, it's over 1,000. Let's give this guy a big boost. And yeah, reward him with subs and likes and all this stuff. And let's take care of YouTubers who are actually brave right now. Don't succumb to peer pressure. Thanks. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. And I saw a lot of you subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We usually do it every Monday and Thursday. We'll do this show where I sit down one-on-one with someone I appreciate, someone I want to know more about, or people I admire. And then Wednesday nights, I do my 9 o'clock show. Sorry, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We do the midweek hump where I sit and we just talk about pop culture and things that we like and dislike. So make sure you come hang out. We'll see everyone very soon. Appreciate y'all. See you next time. See ya. I never stay on afterwards. Should we stay on? Everyone's going to leave, but stay on and say hello. For like 1 minute. Some people still here. Hey. Appreciate everyone hanging out tonight, really. Since there's so many people still just kind of chilling, I figured I would just say thank you because we never have this many people here. And Ethan sent you guys around, and you know, whether you're following him or whatever, and you came here because you saw the tweet, awesome. But yeah, what's up? I see some familiar faces. I see Arcasoul's in here. I see Fake Out, yeah. Bonzo, I saw Bonzo in here. I can't keep up. Good show, thanks. You know, great outro. Thanks, Spicy McTwisted. I thought Elements is good. Yeah, there's the chat's moving so fast I can't even keep up. Katie did. What's going on? I've seen you before. Katie did. I've seen you around. I see you get around. Came over from Trashcast. Thanks, Bon. Appreciate you. Can we get hey, hi, COMICSGATE. How's it going? I see COMICSGATE all over the internet. You guys are everywhere. Your best super chat night. Yeah, dude, this is easily my best super chat night. You guys basically, am I affiliated with the Hotep Nation? No, I interviewed Canon Hotep. I really like the Hoteps. I think they're pretty based. Jesus Loves Me? Maybe. Usually do very well. I can't chat very often. Thank you, Grumpy Old Ninja. I appreciate you. Eric Enrique the Squirrel for $2. Thank you. I don't usually stay after. I feel bad, but I'm just a shithead. Casey Davis, thanks for subscribing. Dickington Post for $5 says, Tom, have you taken the hashtag COMICSGATE pledge to not grape Shane? I'm not gonna say that word. Shane Davis. Sure. Yeah. Wow. Damn. Thanks for subscribing, everyone. Appreciate y'all. I won't do any of that to anybody. I don't want to do that. That sounds awful. I want to be that guy. What part of Utah am I from? I'm not going to say because there's a lot of people here, and I know you can know I'm from Utah. How about that? I saw you once in Culture Casino show, but lost track of you. Liked you got guts to talk with. Yeah, I just don't care. I don't care. I want to talk to people. I want to know what makes people tick. Max Grundle for 5 says, good interview, Tom. I'll poke my nose in again to see what you're up to. Good discussion. Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. He took the plane. No, I said I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I don't want to, Sven. I killed it. Thanks, Wookie. Appreciate it, man. Do you no, I don't dye my beard. Dude, this is you see this gray? Who dyes their beard? Is there people who really dye their beard like this gray? What morons. Scott Hall, you're in Provo? Oh man. I'll probably pass you one day. The world is small. I'll probably pass you one day. Who knows? You might see me around. If you ever see me around, tap me on the shoulder and say, what's up? Yes, dyes his beard. Hopefully he's not still watching. Oh, he dyed his beard for Tim Pool. That's my next stop, y'all. Next stop, we're gonna Tim Pool. I can give you great, awesome beard tips, bro. Fact. I don't need it. This is all natural, man. I don't need tips. You're gonna give me tips? Fuck out of here. This man don't need no tips. There's only one tip I'm gonna give you, and you're not the right pronoun. Probably. I don't know. I'm totally assuming. Nobody's dye their beard. They don't dye your beard. Just the tip, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair. Yeah. Someone in chat today said I looked like Jack from Twitter. Probably because of my beard and the beanie. Shagsworth, is this the most people you've ever had watching one of your live streams? Yes, absolutely. I've never had more than, I think, like 350 watching. So Shag's a little spicy tonight. Nice. What's up, Jessica? Good to see you, Jessica Reloaded. Love to see you. Beard oiler? No, I actually don't even oil my beard, Element 47. I don't. Yeah. Oh, can he really? Can he really give good? I'm sure he can give good. I mean, his beard's probably longer than mine. There's a good chance. I did get a boost. I haven't even looked at the numbers, but I'm sure I saw so many people subscribe. It was really, really cool of y'all to do that. I really appreciate it. It was really, really awesome. The idea is to cross the line, right? I go bankrupt trying to oil my beard. Yeah. The idea is to try and cross the line to like garner like people from one side of the aisle and the other side, and make people understand like we're all just human. At the end of the day, you want to throw shade at people on Twitter. That's one thing. But I guarantee you, if I met you in real life, and even if we were beefing online, we'd still be able to like shake hands and like I'm a hugger, so I'd just give you a hug. So like that's what would happen. But I get it, man. I get it. Like, and he's not wrong. You get to a certain point in your life where you just don't want to take any shit anymore. And like that's just how it is. And a lot of people are at that point, I think, whether you're on one side or the other. I don't even want to talk about that really, because the way I see it, like everybody can be successful. All these people can exist at the exact same time. They don't need to not exist together. Don't hug me, I'm gassy. A hug, you say? Yes, a big one. Just talk face to face and meet people. Yeah, and that's one thing I have said, Grumpy, is that people just need to like go to conventions, go to meetups, and like meet people. They're good people. I heard mention of Provo. Remember when a Raising Cane's opened up in town? Man, Raising Cane. Oh, it's the chicken place, right? You can share a beer with most people. Just avoid Eric, because you'll get shoulder hair in your drink. I don't think so. Dick McGurglestein. The names on this platform are usually pretty funny. What is 1 2 Eric? Wait, hold on, I want to see that comment. What did that say? Eric et al. Are doing Ethan wrong. Why can't you recognize that? I mean, I do at times 1 2. I do. I don't agree with everything that happens. That's why I don't fall in with everybody. I'm not good enough to make an opinion so apparent, like, this is the way it is. Like, shit happens, man. You know how many times I've changed my mind since I did this fucking interview? Like, I've changed my mind on what color is my favorite 40 times since I started this interview. I do want to try Raising Cane's, but there are none in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, Raising Cane's is okay. It's all right. Leon K, praise the Lord. Are you really religious? I was funny. I did a whole discussion this week about religion. It was really good. Did you go to school in Utah and then stayed? No. Nope. My wife is from here. And then when COVID hit, we were living in Hawaii and then we moved here. Check my DMs. I don't have any DMs from you. Where? Or are you talking? Oh. I don't know, Ark. That could be a little scary. Raising Cane sucks. Yeah, I don't love it. Element 47, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone coming through. Like I said, I don't normally do all this, but it's in the description, Ark. Yeah, COVID wrecked Hawaii. It's too bad. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were only there for a couple months, and that was too much. Katie did. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. We were only there for a couple months, and then we left because I think we left in June of 2020 because we just couldn't. There was too much. We couldn't. Well, we could pay, but I was furloughed at work, and then they finally got rid of everyone. It was really shitty. There's so many YouTubes that don't deserve the platform. I'm glad to find you. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't pretend to know who's deserving of what. I just know that, like, for me personally, there's a lot of stuff. There's just a lot of the same, which I'm. Yo, Lofty, what's up, dude? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Lofty, we got to talk. I want to talk about movies, bro. We got to do some more. I want to do some more movie talk. Makes me feel better. Maybe you should do this more often then, just subbed, bro. Yeah, I have like 4 more interviews scheduled between over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, I mean, for sure, stop back in, man. Kick Lofty also. Lofty's a good dude. Lofty's very misunderstood. The problem with Lofty is he's like my 6-year-old. When he doesn't get his way, he starts screaming. And that's the problem. You just want to smack him because you're like, you fucking idiot, just shut up. Yeah, he's interesting. Yeah. No, Lofty's a good dude. And he knows what he's talking about, I think, most of the time. We still have to meet in IRL though. Hopefully he goes to the meetup in Vegas. That'll be fun. Please say the N-word on Flashcast. We need you to You're playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and watching the underrated Magnificent 7 remake? I will say this has been the most chill chat I've ever modded for, so thanks, guys. Y'all made it easy. The chickens in chat were a class. Yeah, I do appreciate everyone behaving themselves. I know that's not easy in this particular case, but yeah. If you're around the music scene in Salt Lake, chances are we have a lot of the same friends. I've floated back and forth from the city for a long time. My wife's more into it. She's like big into like we went and saw like Pepper not too long ago. She loves the Dirty Heads. I think we're gonna go see them at Red Rocks on her in like July, I think. I told Lofty who I was at Matsuri because I always tell him to shut the fuck up and chat, and he told me to go himself and gave me a hug. He's a sweet. Yeah, Lofty's awesome, dude. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption is superior to Red Dead Redemption 2. I'll die on that hill. Sorry. We rebel rousel a bit, but we don't bite. Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of the people, especially on like Twitter, most of you would just like gum people to death. Like that's how I feel like these people on Twitter are. You just would gum people to death. You're that old guy who's like trying to make out with fucking like those old guy trying to make out with a nurse, but you're just like biting her. That's what most of you are. Holy shit, we're eight subs away from 2,000. 8 subs away from 2K. We're 8 subs away from 2K, and that's insane. I did not think I was hitting 2K anytime soon. So thank you. Thank you, COMICSGATE. I guess I owe you one. Shit. 5 away. Do not stop. Shut up, Bonzo. Fucking disappear for 2 months and then comes back. Are you part of the second biggest religion in Utah, Harry Potter fandom? No. I like Harry Potter, but I'm not like a oh my god, we need to do everything. No. This was a cool surprise getting off work. I admittedly haven't tuned into Shagsworth in a minute, but he's a good dude, folks. Thanks, Scott Hall. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's tough. I am not as I've been more consistent recently than I have ever been. I spent a decent amount of time in the hospital about a month ago, and it was a big scare. And I'm kind of feeling the effects from it a bit. So it's kind of it was a sad wake up call, but it's really kind of put things in perspective for me. And being here now, and like it's gotten me to realize what's important is bottom line, and that's it. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. Why did you force AVS to go on your show? I didn't force him. He responded to me in like within a half an hour of me messaging him, which was weird. I did not expect him to 2K boys and girls. We just hit 2K subs on YouTube. That's insane. That's nuts. Thank you everybody for that. That's a huge milestone for me. What the fuck is a night letter? Thank you. This is like for real. This is if just so you guys know, you guys being here for the first time, if you're not aware, like this is what I want to do. Talk to people, have interviews with people. Someone jokingly said Tom's the next Joe Rogan. If I could have Joe's job, I would absolutely take it in a New York motherfucking minute. Anyone who knows me, that's what would be happening. This proves meritocracy doesn't work. Jerk. Night letter equals shame if something bad would happen to you. Yeah. Okay. I just yeah, man, this has been cool. It's been super cool. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and it's gonna be like 1900 or something like that. Well, that's the thing, geeks. I'm just gonna call you geeks. Is that like what I really want to see is that, like, or what I really want to do is like just be able to chill, like sit across from somebody and like literally share a drink with them. Yeah, I gotta do jujitsu. Yeah, slacker high. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's another. I missed one of those things. You seem very nice and did a great job interviewing. I ain't mad at you. Thanks. I'm not like what it comes down to. I have no skin in the game. What am I be mad at? Like, sure, like would I defend people I like consider a friend? Yeah, of course. Like I'm just like nothing involves me. Do I agree with how people act? No. I think people act like children sometimes. But I'm not going to intentionally like disrespect someone that I don't know, that I have nothing to do with. So short of short of like someone in this whole thing like comes and spits in my face, like I have no reason to really like get involved with it. And I'm not even necessarily going to like just embrace it, right? I'm not just going to say, oh, like, oh, this is all amazing, you know? Because I mean, some of it's shitty. Some of it's shitty. And that's it. But I have nothing has nothing to do with me in so many ways. But, you know, I'm just trying to be the more practical one at times and just like, oh, whatever. And that's why I like Camelot so much. Like Camelot, I mean, sure you guys know Camelot from all the campaigns and everything. I resonate with him a lot because not because I'm jacked like him, but because of how like laid back and like chill he is for the most part. Like he just seems like a guy like I would just vibe with big time. You're lucky because EVS is someone who is actually open to talking to anyone. Well, no, and that's Maka. That's what I've noticed. That's what I noticed from this. That's what I've noticed from this conversation is that's very obvious. So it's totally 2006. What a year. What happened in 2006 for you guys? That was 3 years after I graduated high school. So what was I doing? I think I was working in Jersey at the time. What were we all doing? How many of you were not born yet? Take it from a CG guy. If you hop on the train, you won't be disappointed. We have the hottest chicks and the best chicken. I'll take the chicken. I don't need a chick. I got a banger of a chick, dude. Critical caller. Thanks for the sub, dude. Appreciate you. How many subs did you get tonight? How many? I think it was like 30 something, 36 or so. Nada lived in Austin, Texas in 2006. Life was good pre-financial crisis. Yeah. You were in middle school. You were 11 in 2206? Man. I was in wait, what? I was in 2003 and 2000. Oh. Also in Red Dead Redemption 2, John Marston is portrayed as a coward. He doesn't even kill the guy Arthur Morgan fights with before dying. Yeah, you know, Marston disappointed me in RDR2. I was barely able to stay enrolled in university in 2006. Nearly dropped out. Leon, hey, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. It was Apple Pits. Does your caps lock not work? Sorry, I had to call you out. When you were in Jersey, did you ever come to Seaside Heights? That is where I am right now. Fact. Yes, I did. I did go to Seaside Heights. That place is gross. That's awesome. Shout out to the weird guys showing up in old pictures with anachronistic technology. Yeah, you know it's funny. I was looking at my mom made this like collage of me growing up and like all that shit, like just like us like watching TV and like the tube TV and the VCR, like putting in like a VHS. Thanks, Katie. Did appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for all the subs tonight. Bradley Joseph, thank you so much. I'm trying. I love my caps. Someone said, "Oh, that was Bonzo. Poor Bonzo. You got mad at me." I remember using the prongs to hook up my NES. Oh, dude, I know. It should be the Stone Age. Oh, Jalapeno must be watching from behind. It felt like back then. So I've been even going back and collecting DVDs now. I've been been just scooping up DVDs from family members that don't want them anymore. Even those dudes, even those are like really difficult to like watch. Like the quality on DVDs is actually much lower than I remember. And if they're scratched, whoo, they're screwed. They're screwed. Um, no man, it's one hell of a show. So fun. So fun. I think quite honestly, guys, I do a lot of different stuff. Um, I do a lot of different stuff. I am I play games. I do a panel show on Wednesdays. I do these interviews, and that's really what I've been concentrating on. But I love gaming. I'll do it on my gaming channel a lot of times. Sometimes I'll do it on here, but it's really about what I want to do more than anything is talk to people, being involved with anyone I can to learn. I think one thing that people don't do enough is listen to just listen. Listen to learn. People just want to listen to reply, and I think that's really really bad. People want to take shots at others, and it's easy. It's much harder. Like so I had this sort of and just indulge me for a second. People get bitter and they get resentful and they get jealous. And what happens is in jealousy, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's how I see this crap. That's how I see this crap um on what's it called? On Twitter. All these people like all these people like drinking their own poison, they're hoping this other person's gonna die. It's like, dude, just like you're better off. Everyone is better off doing their own thing, and accomplishing that goal, and then getting rich over it. Like, isn't that the goal? Um, what's the gaming channel? Here, I'll shoot it over to you guys. It's let me just make sure it's the right one. It should be youtube.com/Shagsworth Gaming. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I've gotten the custom URL yet. I did. I've been playing Dark Souls, Helldivers, and Last Epoch. So if you want to follow gaming, I just dropped it in chat. Feel free to follow that one over there too. But I've been doing some gaming over there. Um, thanks, Metastep. I appreciate it. I said I know it's not. Jealousy and envy tend to infiltrate the path. Q-Tip, I forget the song. A Tribe Called Quest. Yeah, Tribe Called Quest is one of my favorite groups. Yeah, thanks. No, like I said, I try not to do gaming on this channel because it kind of messes with everything. But over there, that's like if I game, I hop on the smaller channel, trying to build that up to do games and do some gaming news and stuff over there. But yeah, shameless plugs on all fronts. Shameless on all um yeah. I don't even want to go. I just want to hang out and chat. What can we chat? Dude, Donkey Kong Country is the go, bro. I love Donkey Kong Country is it's the one game I've thought about speedrunning. Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2. It's the one game I've thought about actually speedrunning because I really, really like it. Hope you don't suck. Soren, I kind of suck. But you know, it is what it is. Tom, if you put up a link, I'll come on and have beard talk with you. Fact. What about Donkey Kong Country Returns? You know, I haven't played any of the newer ones. Um, people have said to play Tropical Freeze. I'm old enough to remember Diddy Kong Racing, dude. Diddy Kong Racing is where it's at. That's where it's at. Katie Did's going to bed. Good night. Thank you so much. DKC Returns is fantastic, as is Tropical Freeze. Retro Studios knows how to make a game. I'll have fun. Maybe we'll do. We should have beer talk soon. Tropical Freeze is outstanding. Maybe even better than the S. What? Are you serious? Like, for real? Tropical Freeze is better than there's no way. Take it easy, Eric. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Oh man, if it's that good, I have to pick it up. If it's that good, I really do. I really, really do. It's debatable. Heck, Abomination AJ says, "Heck no, it's not." Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's hard to beat those old games. They're so good. They're so good. Adam Cabral, thanks for subscribing. Daydreams and Nightmares, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate y'all. I try and call out the subs when they pop in. It's been hard. So many people subbing. I couldn't really do it. And those who subbed over at my gaming channel, thank you. Trying to get that up to 100 if I can. Are you a rock and roller, Tom? I was a groupie at one point. I'm almost a 1-year Shags baby, says Metastep. Dude, thank you so much, bro, for the sub. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for wrenching and thanks for subbing. Bablito says, "You've gotten so white lately, even your beard is turning white." Bro, isn't that bad, Bablito? Shit's whack. It's whack, dude. Can't even believe it. Frogger is the best. I don't know about Frogger. A groupie. I used to hang out with a lot of like New England hardcore bands that would be around. Like I was friends with a lot of those guys, and I was never good enough to play anything. So, but I used to hang around with them when I could. So that's what I mean by like groupie. Like I'd go to their shows as much as I could. I used to try and like film them. Yeah. The beard needs vitamin D. My skin normally, like in the summertime, I get nice and brown. People mistake me for la 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 la. Yep. Turning into Kim Thale. Don't know. I feel, a lot of times I gotta say, I feel like so out of the loop with shit. You are where I was 15 years ago. Then it becomes a bright white strip down the middle. They called me Stripe for a while. Fact. Nah, bro, you Hawaiian? Yeah, I do. I do look Hawaiian. I do look Hawaiian in the summertime. Just ask my Kanaka. You should look into your ancestry. I should actually. You know what my ancestry is, and this is weird. It's mostly like my dad's side is like Eastern European, Slovakian, and then my mom's side of the family is actually a lot of like German, Irish, Scottish. So it's weird. It's really weird. But I don't have any of that. I just grow a fucking fantastic beard. It's just how it is, I'm just that damn good. You related to Roman Reigns, bro? Maybe Roman Reigns. What am I doing here? Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure you had no problem fitting in Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, people knew I was Howley, but I was still. I think it was like I was acceptable because my skin was darker. Like people were like, "Ah, it's all right." Brother Shags, you stay. Hawaiian during winter, Lulu during summer. Winter in Hawaii is my favorite time. It's the best, dude. So good. Oh, Roman Reigns. Yeah. Yes. Wait, is that the guy who died? He die? No. Okay. And never mind. Wait. Oh, he's like 2 weeks older than me. That's funny. He was born in 85 too. No, I'm thinking there's another guy who looks like me who died, and people would come up to me and say, "You look like this dude," and I can never remember his name. Scott Hall. EVS finally made it to Jack's show, Jalapenos. So they're watching the Dungeoneers. I don't know. I don't know the Braun. Yeah, maybe that was it. Braun. Let me see. No, this guy died. Like, let me see if I could find. Let me see, wrestler who died. Was it 2021? This is the guy, John Huber. Yeah, Luke Harper. Is that him? Brody Lee. That was his name. Brody Lee. Dude, people would come up to me all the time and say, "You look like Brody Lee." And I'd be like, "Who?" Brody Lee is who people say I look like. Jesus died for your sins. I don't know about that. I heard that as much, but so yeah, if you're into wrestling, you know who Brody Lee is. That's who. Good thing other mods can't ban me. Don't sweat it. The dungeon stuff isn't worth your time. Oh. Brody, actually, yeah, you do. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. People say, "Yeah, you look like Brody Lee." I'm like, "Oh, all right." I haven't watched wrestling since SmackDown was like the biggest thing going. So, yeah. Beard versus food in the making. Yeah, Krabby Patty. People have said I also look like him. Who was I on with? I think I was on with Camelot during his 24-hour stream, and they were like, "Who brought on Beard versus food?" Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna head out. I want to thank you guys. Go find your next best favorite streamer. Go hang out with them. Show them some love. I got nothing. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all the subscribers tonight, and I appreciate all the super chats, dude. These were insane. Y'all are nuts. Especially Matt Grendel. If you're still here, I really appreciate y'all. Send us to Jack. I've never done a raid or anything, so I don't know. I don't even know how to do that. I'll have to figure it out. Great meeting you guys. Appreciate you. Check out my interview next week. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, do what you got to do. But we're out of here for now. See you guys next time.